So, are you going to Spiel Essen 2024? Unfortunately, I'm not. I managed to go last year and not this year, but I've still put together a list of games that you should be checking out, playing, and maybe even bringing home with you from the event. Let's start with Cascadia Rolling Rivers and Cascadia Rolling Hills. These two additions are effectively making the Cascadia gameplay that we all love and know and turning it into a roll and write experience. You are going to be rolling these dice. Let's zoom in and have a look. You're going to be rolling these dice which have the animals on them, and then you've still got those different animal scoring cards that I know I certainly really enjoyed that aspect of Cascadia, and the way that you built out a board and placed things, it did feel like that tile placement gameplay could become a roll and write. So I'm excited to give these ones a go. And why are there two editions? Why is there a second version? Well, that's because they have different scoring editions, different scoring cards and stuff like that, and I believe also different pads as well, so they do play slightly differently. Ones to definitely check out at the Spiel. Arcane Wonders is going to be doing an English release of Vegetable Stock. Now, I must admit I preferred the old, really colourful edition, but it still does seem to have the rather quirkiness of the different fruits. So the game here, this is in a slightly different language, but effectively as you're taking these cards, it's pushing the price up of some and the price of others down. So, oh, I've got a load of sweet corn, but it's not worth much. Or maybe I can nudge it up. And it's just an interesting idea, and I love the bright colour of the original, and I hope some of that is there in that new edition, and that's why I'd be going to take a look at it at the Arcane Wonders booth. I'm a huge fan of how the original Takenokolor was just that simple, easy gameplay where you're collecting that bamboo and such, and I'm a huge fan of roll and writes, so why not combine the two and actually, in this case, I really like the fact they've actually put the dice on the pens. It's a quirky idea, I like it. Now I think this is a prototype image here, roughly, because the pens look different, but the way you're taking certain colours of bamboo to get points, it looks like you're trying to collect ladybirds and different things, colour in some of the sky and different things like that. It looks like there's an interesting set collection-y sort of part of this, a bit like in the original when you're trying to get tiles in the same place or eat certain colours of bamboo to trade them in for points. Cool roll and write, sign me up. And Takenokolor theming, yeah, I'm definitely going to be trying to feed that panda when this game becomes available, and you should try it at Spiel. Combining a few games into one, because there are 3 different Witness games. Now these, from what I can tell, are effectively just a re-theming, a slight maybe redesign of an original Witness game from a few years ago that had a very cool like cartoony art style. They've sort of changed that up, maybe gone for a bit more of a serious vibe, and you are, as 4 players only, trying to solve these cases. I mean, it's got a relatively short playtime of 10 to 25 minutes on the box. It has to be that exact 4 player count, but that seems like a cool length of time for a sort of a mystery case to take. You could easily get that in on a week evening if you've got the players available. I'd certainly want to check this series out. Another series from Gate On Games, this is Mini Crimes. Now this seems to be like a series 2 effectively of these, a new wave of cases, and each one of these, well, they bring a new thing to life, and in this case you've got like a card in the middle that shows the scene that's gone on, and you're going to be with other players working out and going through these mini crimes. There's 6 in this new sort of series of them, and well, I'd certainly want to see a little bit more, and I'd maybe bring a few of them home because they look very small and portable, a couple of them in my bag to play later. Akropolis Athena expansion is something I can recommend to you. You should definitely go and play this, and if you're a fan of Akropolis, buy it. Why? Well, it is an expansion, but it doesn't change what Akropolis is all about. So what's the big things it adds? Let's start at the bottom here. First of all, new tiles, and these individual sort of single hex tiles, often multiple colours on them. So you're actually scoring for 2 different things there, potentially. How do you get these? That's where these cards come in, and there's a few different ones in the box, like there's 4 blue cards, 4 green cards, etc. Let's have a look at the blue one here as an example. If you do this layout of blue, the residential style buildings, if you do that layout, that's when you get to take one of these, and you also get to take a bit of the Athena statue. Complete your Athena statue, and those cubes that you've been holding on and spending to get skip cards in the market, they're worth 5 points at the end instead of 1. So just more gameplay, some cool twists, and a little bit of variety with the additional cards in the box. So those 4 cards, how you get the tiles and stuff, changes each game. Highly recommend you play this. I had a lot of fun with it at UK Games Expo. I'm a huge fan of roll and writes, as you might have sort of guessed from this. I also love tile placement games, so turning Railroad Inc., one of my favourite roll and writes, into a tile placement game, which actually also has more interaction as a result, because it's like the earlier you go in a round, you've got more choice, but potentially if you take more tiles, you'll be later in the next round, etc. And you're also trying to do these objectives, and well, you've still got, from what I can tell, this lovely art style that Railroad Inc. was known for. I think it looks gorgeous, and I really would like to play it. I've backed it on Kickstarter, but this is your chance to get hands on. Itten always do some very fun games, and this is just one of the ones that they'll be showing off. And it's interesting for Itten because it's only a 2-player game. So Tower of Doubt basically sees, let's have a bit of a zoom in, you get this in the middle of the table. So from your direction you can only see 2 sides of each of the towers. And there's this thing where you're trying to almost bluff what you can see, the white and the black dots there that you're trying to sort of hint towards, or make sure you get the right things. I don't know 100% sure how it works, but their games are often really small, portable, interesting designs, and well, I'd certainly play this and a load of their other games at the booth as well. But this one, it just looks interesting that it's for 2 players. They don't do that very often. So Silla, A Smile of 1,000 Years, is only in Korean, at least language-wise, but they might have English rules available, and I wanted to include it on this list because it's something different that maybe you haven't heard of, but also it looks absolutely fantastic. It really is giving me vibes of Tang Gardens, the way it's tile placement, and I can instantly see by looking at that how the tiles are placed and how this garden thing grows out in front of everyone, and I really love the wooden components that you're putting down onto it. I think it just looks absolutely fantastic, and sometimes at Spiel some of the Asian companies do have just, you buy the game and they give you a rule sheet that's in English, so something to check, but I definitely want to give it a play. I actually had 6 suspects on my Essen preview list for last year because the publisher incorrectly put it onto the BGG listing. It's going to be there this year. I interviewed Bruno Feduti last week, so you can go and check that out, learn more about this game, and it is a micro game. 18 cards run this experience, and this is probably the best picture to show it from Board Game Geek. You have the suspects at the top, and then underneath the rest of the cards are face down. On your turn you're going to pick one of them up and learn a bit of information. You might find out, oh, this person here, let's have a look, this Charles person, actually they're an undercover cop, so even if they stole something else, they aren't the person you're looking for. There's other abilities that move cards around or mirror or copy something else, and I really like the idea of just a very small, quick game, and it looks really cool. So 6 suspects, it will be there this year, and go and check out the interview that I did with Bruno, the designer, as well, after this video, of course. Matthew Dunstan and Brett J. Gilbert have teamed up once again to bring Tree Society. Now, there's not too much that I can tell about this game, but they're a good design pair for me. I don't think they've ever made a bad game. They've made some okay games and some also great games, and teaming up with Next Move, well, I often find their games are pretty solid as well. In this you're trying to complete contracts and different good things like that, so you've got these lovely chunky discs and some tree meeples and stuff, cards with fruit and that, and it looks like you're effectively saving them up, spending them for contracts and just scoring points here, there and everywhere. And like I say, I've never had a bad game from them. It'd be one I'd want to go and try, definitely. Maybe buy it as well. There is very little about Overparked that I can find, other than the designer is Daryl Cho, who has done some great games as well, and also from the 2 pictures and the description you can roughly work out how the game is a puzzly sort of thing. So in this game, you and your opponents are basically trying to park the cars and fit them into your car park, and they're trying to do it in theirs sort of thing. And you can see how these, like, you could almost be polyomino tiles, I'm assuming, sliding them around, trying to fit as many cars in. I don't know, it just seems like a really interesting one that there isn't much information about, so I'd really want to walk past and take a look. This would be a must-see for me, even if it's not a must-buy, because I just want to know more and maybe give it a play. And like with all on the list, if it's good enough, you buy it, don't you? But I definitely want to check this one out at Spiel. Time for another recommendation, because you should definitely be checking Seaside out. I gave it a really good review recently, so go and check that out if you want to know more. The only thing I would say is learning the game, the first couple of rounds can be a bit awkward as you're learning the powers of these things, but it's got some really great choices. So let's have a zoom in here. Effectively, on your turn, you're rummaging your hand into a bag and pulling one of these tokens out. They're double-sided. Maybe it's got a blue side on one side and a white side on the other. Blue means you're putting it into the middle, but you go again. A white one means you're ending your turn and scoring in some way. Some of them also may be blue on both, so then you're determining, should I put a bug into the middle, or a crab, or a shell, based on what you think you're more likely to be able to score lots of at a later time. I really like it. It has love letter vibes for me. Go and check out my review and check it out at Spiel as well. It wouldn't be a Spiel list for me without a Sashi and Sashi game, and last year it was Newsboys, because that was a roll and flip and write, and this one is Bus and Stop. Why? Well, it's got real vibes for me of cool looking artwork, card games, but also it's effectively, from what I can understand, a get on board or let's make a bus route as a card game. Now, you'll know from just this picture here if the art shouts to you. I personally think it's really nice, vivid and clean artwork. I really like it. And if the gameplay is like Get On Board, but as a card game, I definitely would want to play this one. So I would definitely go and check this one out. And they normally have a range of their games to play, and go and try a few of them. And last but not least, it's Kelp. I definitely want to be going to check this game out. I didn't back the Kickstarter, though I have been very fortunate to speak to Carl, the designer of this game, a number of times, and he goes nice and honestly into the design process and a few other things that went through this game, where the inspiration came from. I mean, it looks glorious, doesn't it? And also how it works differently for the 2 players. So you do actually have a very asymmetrical gameplay between the 2 players. Short 2-player games, I love that. And the fact it's asymmetrical, that's really intriguing as well. I definitely want to go and play this. It looks lovely. Hopefully it plays lovely too. But there you have it. That's what I would say are the must-see games at Spiel. I know it's not the heaviest list. There's definitely big games out there. There's the Arc Nova Map Pack 2, but these are the ones that would really make me go and I want to see them, play them, and maybe buy them as well. What game from the list are you now adding, scrolling to the bottom of your list, that you want to see at Spiel? Let me know in the comments section below. And until next time, have a wonderful Spiel and a great day gaming.